What's up, everybody, and welcome back to my studio. I'm Joseph Finchum. You are you. And, yeah, gremlins. Always with the gremlins. The mic wouldn't connect again like it did, what was it, 2 weeks ago? I don't remember. Okay, we're finishing her. Or it. The background needs a little bit of work. I did a little bit of burnishing on some parts, trying to get the colors a little bit more accurate. Today we're going to try and get the rest of this background in and at least blocked in, and we're going to work on this tree and give it its bark. I couldn't remember the name of the tree the last time uh, I mentioned the tree, but it's a sycamore. So that's the kind of bark look I'm going for, that peely kind of thin. So let's get into it. Okay, so I got most of the sky blocked in last time. Definitely needs some burnishing. Uh, just to get the color more even and less scribbly. Everything needs a little bit more burnishing and more solid color. So we'll get to that eventually. But for now, we're pretty much where we need it. So, I'll look at my stupid little reference picture that's really bad and figure out what colors I need. I think it's this one. I'm going to sharpen this real quick, just a little bit. And we're going to start over here with a little tree shape-ish thing. Start blocking that in. And this is just going to be scribbly. Let me see who's here. I know Clark Fine Art is here, and I know that Violet Sky is here. Anyone else? Hey, George. George is here. What's up, George? What's up, Violet Sky? What's up, Clark Fine Art? Thank you all for joining me. I appreciate it very, very much. So here's a question for Clark Fine Art. When you stream, if you can remember that far back, I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing. Um, can you see your monitors when you're going? Because I very often will move my hand here and then see it over there a second later and get distracted by my own self. I want to know if that's just me or do you do that too? Mm, these are closer, so I want them to be a little bit lighter than the stuff up here in most parts. See if I can get that a little more even. Just trying to build up the shape here a little bit. Trying to make it look a little bit more like a tree. Okay, it's not just me. Good. It pleases me to hear that. And if you remember me saying last week, these trees don't have to be perfect. They're supposed to be a little on the fuzzy, blurry side. So I also need to fill in up there a little bit. Get a little bit more dimension in here. Not sure how well I like how this tree is coming out, but it's not terrible. Where is my? Gotta give it a little bit of some branching. I need to just build a little bit more of a tree back here because there it continues over. Uh, Okay. It's probably the wrong place to do it, but I'm just going to add another little trunk in here. Okay. Uh, uh, hope any of that. I'm hoping that some of this makes sense. Multiple layers of trees, and I'm probably not capturing that all that well, but as long as the end result is what we want, or close to what we want, it's never exactly what I want. You know what I'm saying. You all get me. I don't know what that was. Couldn't have been too important. It's not a custom set. Sure, I'm grabbing the right pencil. Get some a little bit darker in here. Not too dark, but a little bit. Make sure I'm getting all the way up to my edges. I hope so, George. I really do. That's why I'm kind of like very much blocking it in as fast as I can. I mean, will it be totally finished? I don't know. Maybe. The problem is that I know it needs a lot more. I was saying earlier, it needs a lot more burnishing work to get the colors really flatter. Like if, let me see if I can, right now, I know I'm working down below. Let me go back below. Like a lot of it, you can still see how scribbly it is, but like in here in the, I don't even know what the loincloth thing, I don't know what to call that. Um, that I kind of tried to smooth out a lot more and leave the highlight spots. But like all of this tree work and the sky, it has to be blended a lot more. So hopefully we'll get somewhere in there. Because I was thinking about the idea of the, what was it, the cityscape, which sounds like a great idea, but that's going to take me some planning. I like that idea though, so we'll have to see how that goes. Just get in there. I do, but they are. I mean, technically, you can call them studio assistants, but they're not allowed in the studio. My studio is small, so there's a lot of stuff everywhere, basically, and they love being scientists and testing gravity. So yeah, they don't really come in here. They try to. They definitely want to sometimes, but no. And I know most people think it's a lot, and uh, Lisa thinks I'm what is it, a psychopath or a sociopath? Can't remember which one because I have 7 cats. 8 cats? 7 cats. Trying to use a little bit of like a shadowing to build a little bit more dimension into this tree area in here. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Gotta make this a little bit more solid. Just go over the whole thing again in a different direction than I did the last time. Try and really fill that tooth up. Even though it probably, oh no, it actually looks okay today. You can actually see that there's some green there. It seems to be the top half that gets washed out. Let me, yeah, see, that washes out, but that doesn't really. So I don't know. I don't get it. Giving a little bit of highlight in there. That's where the sun is hitting. That's not going to be even, but doesn't have to be totally even. Make these just a little bit more visible. Off screen again, of course. Okay, George. Good to know. Okay, so uh back here. Gotta make sure I have the right blue. I think that's the right blue. Pretty much fill all of this in. Well, not all of it because it's the river in the background. It just needs to kind of resemble water, not fully be water. Might be a little overworked, or I could have just accidentally smudged this side, so I'm going to try and make these a little bit more matching. Eh, as long as the point comes across. And you could barely see any of that. I gotta remember that this space right here is not in either of my high or low positions. I don't know how I screwed it up. I noticed it just before I went live, so chat's not moving again. Thank you, chat, for being stupid. Where was I? I'm not even going to tell you, Violet Sky, how many the most I've ever had was. I think I've said it before, so if you want to go searching for it, the information's out there. But hey, Rob, thank you for joining. Hey, Tara, thank you both for joining me. I know a lot of my stuff went weird today, so I don't know why. Some of the Patreons, not Patreon, some of the pre-scheduled posts just didn't work. I don't know why. The Instagram one actually told me it failed to post. So I don't know what's up with that. I have to continue that down here. These are all the same trees. And I'm basically just trying to block in some tree shapes. Filling everything in is not always the funnest or most entertaining part, but it's got to be done. And this is actually going to change the color a little bit from up right up there because I went for the dark green without filling in some of the light green first. So let's make sure we do that. It's so blurry to me. Get glasses, Alice. Get glasses. I would not be surprised if anyone recognizes that from an old commercial. But I'm showing my age, I think, with that commercial. Over 2 years. Have I mentioned that? I've been doing this over 2 years and I still don't understand how it works. There is at least one thing every stream that makes me think, yeah, I'll get the hang of it someday. So many stupid trees. This is basically like my weird version of a bokeh background, but I did want it to actually look kind of like trees. And they should probably be fuzzier, if that's the right word. No, let's stick with this one for a second. Building shape. Shape and dimension. and trying not to burnish too much. I don't want to ruin the paper just yet. It all looks a little awkward. Very, very odd trees. Very, very odd. Ah, I don't like this here. So I'm trying to just change that shape a little bit. Starting to feel a little bit like I'm just making. Okay, so this grassland is going to continue down this way, and there should be some more trees here. Don't know if we'll get to those. Okay, to start making some of this bark, it's kind of, you've probably seen it. It's like those trees that kind of look like camouflage. So it's just a matter of making weird camouflagey type shapes. It does. That does sound like a struggle, Rob. Um, yeah. Where was I? Over here. 100 pounds. Wow. All 7 of my cats are on 100 pounds. I know I'm off screen at the moment. Come back down here so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just creating some shapes to fill in with some color. Starting to look like a tree, maybe a little bit. I don't know. Or I guess what I should say is it's starting to look like a sycamore tree. I know they tend to peel less as they get towards the end of the branches, so I'm trying to keep that in mind. Okay, now I gotta fill a bunch of this stuff in as fast as possible. And they're not all gonna be the same color. So I gotta keep that in mind too. There are multiple shades of color in here. Split some of these shapes up. Let's get some color down in here. I wasn't sure how I was going to do these little, like, wrinkly areas, so I'm just throwing some color in there while I have the chance. Trying to give it a little balance while I go. Okay. Uh, anyone hear that? My neighbor has a new rooster. That's great. Not only does he have a new rooster, but he has a new rooster that doesn't know what time it is. How are we doing here? I think, I'm not sure, but I think that they peel more on the top, and where they peel the most is where it's more yellow. So on the branch, I'm trying to keep the yellow more towards the top of the branch. I don't know if that's true. Which color was it? Oh man. That's a fact. I completely forgot about daylight savings time. Well, I didn't forget about it. I just didn't know when it was happening or pay attention to when it was happening. And I started watching a movie at like midnight and thought to myself, oh, I probably shouldn't watch this. So I watched the whole thing. And when I thought I was going to bed at 2:30, it was actually 3:30, and yeah, now my sleep schedule's all messed up. I'm trying to speed this up. Sorry. Okay, I need a slightly darker. I don't know if I want to do. Just try and find a little spot to test. Okay, that's not too bad. It's like a brownish, greeny. What is it? Olive green, yellowish. So it's close to what I want. Just a darker version of this green here. Build in that contrast. I'm gonna add a little bit more of a light green stripe in there. Hope this branch is communicating as sycamore bark. Don't ask me why Sycamore. Mostly, I think it's just because I've never done it before. I generally go when as soon as I think, oh, I'm going to be drawing a tree, I immediately start thinking about like oak bark, big thick, or pine bark, big thick chunky pieces. What time? No, it's not that bad. Again with this thing. Where was it? Up here. I guess I guess the reason I chose this is just because I thought it would look interesting. The like multi-layered patterns of it. Fits in very well. The more I fill the rest in, the more it looks unfinished. So yeah, the cityscape is going to be done, but it's probably not going to be next. Because like I said, that cityscapes take planning, reference photos, and stuff. Um, at least if I want to do a decent job of it. And I'm trying to think: is it more, you know, panoramic, or more here are all the buildings, or is it more I'm looking down a street, in this cityscape? What do you guys suggest? It was your suggestion to do the cityscape, so let's get that going. Um, but I may do something in between this and that, which if I do, I kind of have an idea for it already. It'll depend on whether or not stuff arrives fast enough. Uh, don't want to spoil it in case I don't, or say it in case I don't end up doing it. Thank you, Violet. So now I can start getting the base color way more solidified. I'm going to try and keep it lighter. I want it more solid, but I want it lighter on the left side than the right side because of shadowing. So, see how well this works. Just slowly building it up all the way to the top. Way off so you can't see. Let's go up here. Now you can see again. Okay. Dark as we can get it on this side. Not as well, not as dark as we can get it. Nicely put it. Really, all I'm worried about right now is getting it solid colored and not as scratchy as it already looked and as light as it already looked. Trying to be conscious of where I'm out of view. Almost there. Okay. Nice and light up the center. Trying to get it a little more even, a little more laid in. A little softer. Those are all words I know. Anyway. These are just jokes I make to myself because, I don't always feel like I explain myself the best. I'm sure we've all been there. Layout screen. This is the only screen that shows everything, so, or most of everything. You might notice that in some spots I'm letting this color go over other stuff because that'll help add shadowing to that like automatically. So this piece right now is a little bit darker than that piece. I don't know how well that shows up for you, but I can tell the difference. Now, somewhere, dark brown. Which is going to help me define some of these pieces a little bit. Hopefully to make them look a little bit more like there's some peeling going on. Where's my super dark green? I hope you guys can see this. I'm sure I'm not painting loud enough. Darken that a little while also muting it a bit. Now this doesn't go all the way to the edge. There is a bit of a lip here, so. Hi, Starving! Don't worry, Starving. It got us all. Well, it definitely got me. Let me try this color. Try. I want to see if I can get this gray, this grayish green to blend a little bit. So I'm just going to try and burnish it with the white. It's working a little bit, but not much. I just want it to be smoother than it is, because it's barely scribbled in there to begin with. And if I go back over it, hopefully, it'll stay a little bit lighter than it was. Nope, I still need that. Filling all of this lighter part in. This part down here, you know. One of these days, someone's going to invent a setup that has a camera that just always looks where you're looking. That's what I need. Like just put a little device right on your glasses or right on your face and it'll just always keep the camera pointed where you're looking. That's what I need. Except then what happens every time I look at chat? Or the reference photo. Dang it, this is never going to work. It was a good idea for about 13 seconds. I'll be right back. Sorry. I'm terribly sorry. That was something that had to be signed for. So I was like, who is this? Why do they keep knocking? That ain't right. Oh, it was right. Because I had to sign for something. And it's not even for me. No fair. Okay. Where am I? I'm in the lower branch, so here. This should be good. Okay, I need some of that darker color in this branch. I did not put any of that dark color in here, did I? Nope. So I'm just going to have to make it up as I go. And try and cover up some other spots. I must not have been paying attention before. Doesn't have to be a lot, which is good. Just enough to make this match this a bit. She is wearing a mask. She is from another planet. Not much different from our own, but it is a different planet in a different solar system somewhere. In present time. It's not a long time ago. The name of the planet is Gendaria, and Gendaria has 3 moons, one of which has the mark of the Dragon King, which is 3 claw marks straight across an entire moon. And that one is called Deros. And the people from there are Derosian. So. But the Derosians are still Gendarians. They're still from Gendaria. So. It's kind of hard to talk about a story without giving away the whole story. Not like I'm ever going to finish writing it or anything, so I might as well. There will be a test later. No test. I lied. Pop quiz. Okay. And you can't see me at the moment. So. Blocking all of this in. Now, just gonna gently darken the bottom of this branch. Try and just make this look a little bit more round. I don't know if it's working because I'm a little too close to it at the moment to be able to tell. This is going to be weird because it's going to have two areas of shadow. Let me fill in the, let me block in the main color first. Get it a little bit more even and, what would you call that? Saturated? With that light base color. I don't know if this is working. Kind of looks like it is. And George graduated. You guys are very clever. Okay. I need to think here for a second. I'm going to try and get that area put in. I at least want to get, the majority of everything blocked in. I keep saying that every week and then not doing it, so we'll see how it goes. And you know what? While it's fresh in my head, the closet painting, um, temporarily on hold because I got to thinking about the design for it. And if you remember the design for it, there's a very large giraffican, half dragon, half giraffe. And I drew it originally because it it means something to me, in my head, and the person who would also understand it, it would mean something to them. But I don't know if I want a giraffe again because I'm not big into giraffes or anything. So I don't know if I want that on the closet door anymore. And I'm thinking of just making it a regular dragon. So if you guys have any opinions on that, let me know. Do I want to look at a giraffe all the time just because I painted one on my closet door? I can't say that I necessarily do. I kind of feel like I keep changing where the light source is coming from on these trees. Like, I don't know. This is why you shouldn't draw from your mind. Have reference photos. I have my mock up, but my mock up literally has just big green blobs. So I'm not even sure I can say that they look like a tree. Not good to cheat, Tara. That really doesn't even need to be there, but it's there anyway. That is not the right color. That is the right color. Okay. Trying to leave this like a little streaky. Just so it kind of matches the other side. Little dimension and shadow. Trying to make this look a little bit more like it's rock and dirt. This whole piece can be a little darker. How's that looking? Yeah, it's a little better. make it. See if I can gently darken up. Where was I just thinking? Just a little tiny bit. I want it to be darkest right where they overlap. That might be coming across. That's looking a little better. Okay. This branch here. In my mock-up, it's silhouetted black. But I don't know if black would be just too jarring. So maybe just the darkest gray I have? What do you think? Black or gray? Now, in the story, there is an idea that in the story, she's up here and she sees the people walking below and she turns to run, like to flee the scene, get away, because she doesn't know who these other people are. She's never seen other people before except for her own people. And she jumps onto that branch in the background and it breaks and she falls to the ground, and that's how everybody meets. So, black or dark brown? Or dark gray? Uh, what do you think? Is anybody even still out there? Okay. I think I'm just going to start with the gray. Okay, good. And it's supposed to be like an old, craggy, you know, dead branch. It's not a nice, healthy branch. Or else it wouldn't break. This part is still not even on screen. It's not there either. Ugh, okay. Where? Wow, all the way up there? Okay, so I'm just going to start filling it in from here. Let me fill in the part you can at least see. How do I have so much that is not visible? Doesn't make any sense. I don't know how many times while doing this I I've repositioned the cameras and the lights and then messed with the placement inside OBS, and I still keep screwing it up. Scribbly, scribbly, scribbly. I'm trying to be scribbly about it and get it done faster without going out of the lines, which I've already done a couple times. I'm trying to keep the color somewhat consistent. I can add a little bit of shadowing and shading to it in a minute, but I am rushing it a bit. Don't rush your art. I'm only doing this for the stream. If you're making something you want to be very proud of and hold on to for a long time, don't rush it. I wish. See, everything's up here. I start. The problem is I don't like typing. So I try and think up as much as I can before writing it. Like, I literally have the first two paragraphs of this story actually written down. Everything else is up here. um, many starving. Many, many, many. Um, most. This is the only one, I think, that takes place off world or in another world. And the other ones are just, I don't know. I like to play with the ideas of things, the concepts of things. So, like, I have a whole series, well, not a whole series, but I have a couple of stories written that are about vampires, but they're not actually vampires. They're more like, um, this came out later, but they're more like the Wraith from Stargate Atlantis. That's probably the best way I could describe them. They they more suck the life force out of you than actually drinking your blood. Um, the story is about creatures called vimifores. And vimifore, it's like you have your omnivores, your carnivores, or you have your, yeah, omnivore. No, which one is just eats plants? That's omnivores, carnivores, and vimifores. I don't know. I like science. I'm not very good at it. Just, I know you can't see this, but I'm just gonna fill in a little bit right down here to help remind me later to do it. Is it on here? How about here? Oh yeah, okay. You can see it a little bit down here. I'm just, I'm making this very scribbly. Very, very scribbly. Just trying to get some of this color in here. Okay. Down here is going to be a little bit more grass and the trees coming out a little bit more, but that's it. That, that's where we gotta call it quits. I will definitely finish it. Unlike the creek drawing and everything else. Um, I still keep trying to make time to do those. I even had it taped down here for like 2 weeks and never got the time to do it. But I will get this completely finished. A little bit more detailing up in here, this little hillside there, and the water. I don't like the water. Um, it definitely needs something. Definitely needs some, like, just a little, whoa, just a little bit of something to separate it from the water. So some idea that there's a shoreline there, or the creek shore. Okay, so story segments. Yeah, I wish. I have already tried that. um, herbivores. That's the word I couldn't think of. Who said that? Where'd it go? Starving said. Yes, starving. Thank you. Herbivores. So it's like they all kind of evolved together, and the vimifores have been basically in hiding, and they have the ability like tardigrades, like water bears, to like put themselves to sleep for long periods of time, and then they wake up, they go out, they feed, and then they go back to. So, but they are people. They are fully human people. They just live and absorb their energy differently. And then I have another story about werewolves where it's like, for some reason, I still can't figure out if this is even a possibility, but for some reason, they are a bunch of werewolf people who sail and get trapped on a desert island and deserted island and from this place on the Earth, the perspective of the moon is almost always a full moon. Like, it wavers a bit, but it's almost always full. Not really possible, I know. Or at least I think I know. And so they stay werewolves all the time. And then something happens, and a couple of them, for the first time in generations of werewolves only being werewolves, they turn back to people. And all the other werewolves are like, what the heck are those? Let's eat them. So, okay, so, yes, that's where we're going to call it. Postcards are in the mail if you didn't get them already. I'm sure Tara's is still on the way because hers takes a long time to get there. Rob, I hope yours gets there and doesn't get returned because of the postage. Whenever somebody gets their first postcard, I always throw a couple more things in there. So, hi, Caution. And hi, D-Lynn. Thank you for joining me. Thank you both for dropping by. And, yeah. Next, I know I said I was going to take pictures of this, put it on Instagram, and I never got around to that either, because things are always hectic here. It's pouring now. And I'm always distracted. I am very much ADHD without ever being diagnosed ADHD. You can probably tell. Yes. Oh, Clark Fine Art said she got hers yesterday. Good. Okay. What? A ride? I don't understand. You're losing me, George. Don't do that. Okay, so, thank you, Clark Fine Art, for modding for me. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you to my patrons for doing what you do. D. Lynn, thank you. Yes. That's it. We'll probably be doing something new next week. I have an idea, like I said, but it all depends on shipping, whether I do that, or even if I might be able to do it on something else. So, we'll see. Keep an eye out for the post. And I'll see you next time. Bye.